Hello and welcome back. Today we are continuing our Siam run. Last episode we both had a revolution, and became a republic, but also, very critically, we fought the Heavenly Kingdom. They were currently, bankrupt, and they're bankrupt again, which made fighting them quite easily, and we released Yunnan, which is going to be an important expansion spot for us kind of later on. We also subjugated Dynam, so we're well on our way to becoming the crown jewel of Southeast Asia. We also have a plan that we might end up executing this episode of. So we are playing under the parameter that we cannot declare an interest except adjacent to, territory we have, and we are not, declaring wars unless they're adjacent. And so the prospect of becoming recognized is very difficult because the only GP with whom we share some sort of adjacency or some way to fight has been, Great Britain, which we cannot just fight and get recognition off of, especially because they have, direct access to us in terms of fronts. They would just push us out. However, we can at some point look to liberate or even transfer Spain. That's a lot of infamy, though. And if we liberate them, Spain is a GP, and so the plan will be sometime down the road. I think we will try and get recognition from Spain. I don't think we're going to be doing that this episode, though, or maybe we do this episode, so it'll be late. But right now we're focusing on enacting laissez-faire, as well as some other laws. Hopefully, we can get in on having at least freedom of conscience, while the Theravada monks are kind of, their cloud has been squashed out as a result of the Rev, this type of thing. That way we could enact some sort of school system, which would be really nice. Right now we can only do religious schools, and we are playing on Victoria Tweaks mod, and the Victoria Tweaks mod, religious schools barely give any education access, so we're going to be looking to get public schools instead. Well, this is certainly not what we anticipated, but is kind of very much in the vein of what we were interested in, which is that Spain's declared it on us, so I guess we're going to be going for recognition now. Not really quite ready for it, but they do have their primary war goal as conquer Guangdong, which I think they're going to have a hard time, enforcing on us. We just got skirmish infantry, so we're going to need to import some ammunition in order to make things happen, but we're going to full mobilize. We're going to put in on some fronts, and we are going to make sure we have, defending armies sitting in Guangdong kind of ready, and we might even do some fleet cheese, where we split up into like 6 or 7 different fleets, just these kind of 20-ish units, with the whole purpose of constantly preventing them from getting a naval landing on us. Of course, they can push into Borneo without any difficulties because they have a frontier, or they will have a frontier provided they actually assign to this front, which we are expecting. But yeah, this AI is, they're coming for us. We are going to put in force recognition as our primary war goal, and then we're also going to always go for war reps whenever we do this as well. And so all we'll have to do is just land some little snippet of land that's undefended, like maybe this, the Canary Islands. I'm not sure exactly what the best target is for, going after Spain. I think they have some stuff over here that's probably a little bit better, Puerto Rico, and so something like this. But it looks like we have to go for it. We weren't planning on it, but we got to now. Alright, so the war is about to pop. We are conscripting up a whole ton of, infantry on both of our defensive armies. We have a little bit of available conscripts in case we wanted to maybe get this guy to be half and half, that we're not fully using, but we are using a ton to try and make sure that both Guangdong and the capital is secure. We're not really sure how the AI and Victoria Tweaks is going to behave a little bit differently, but it looks like they're going to be a little too slow to this party, and we're going to be able to push them out here, which is going to be extraordinarily valuable. Oh, does that go all the way? Oh, it does go all the way. So they're just like, they don't have the front coverage for this. Because we don't see any naval landing coming in, and we know that our pushing army here, this like landing army, this 7-stack, can't really defend against counter pushes, we're actually going to move this Guangdong army over just to cover the defense, and hopefully, yeah, so see, we are having a really big disadvantage here, and as soon as these guys catch, what we will do, this front, what we will do is we will just use these guys to do a naval landing. I'm not sure exactly where we'll land yet. I think that it might be simplest. So let's actually move these guys over to the front. So this will help them to just disengage, just generally speaking. Once they fail this attack, we will be able to land with them. Here, we're going to put them on defense as well. They should have been on rapid advance anyways here. And so hopefully we can just defend this while we push this other side. But we are just going to try and land up the Philippines, and so that and just kind of avoid their armies and otherwise defend, while keeping an eye out specifically for when are the fleets coming and when's the landing coming. I don't see any landing on the capital, so maybe we could even engage with this army. As far as like kind of what's going on the rest of the map, Great Qing, poor Qing, they lost their treaty port from the Heavenly Kingdom, because this is a treaty port in the Heavenly Kingdom, and so the UK is going for another one. And the rest of the map's looking pretty nice in terms of how things have developed. We got a nice USA. They have an over-border gored Mexico, although the AI, like with this type of thing, looks very aggressive. Just conquer Guangdong seemingly out of nowhere. Of course, they think they can get it, and to be fair, you know, we thought we could get it, so this is the way things go. We have opium addiction. Tragic. Big sad on the opium addiction. So we got pushed out through Borneo, but we do manage to have a little bit of a cheeky landing back here, and so we can enforce them below zero. They cannot enforce us below zero, but they are giving us a big shellacking, taking all of Borneo. We even rerouted our troops to try and, you know, get into a better spot for this, but no dice. And so this is going to seem to come down to what is going to be a lot of jockeying and moving positions and kind of just landing and re-landing, because as this army comes in, they are just going to absolutely slam the 7 stack. The 7 stack has no chance of winning, but if they don't get guys in on time, or they don't get guys in the right places, then we will just be able to push in, you know, kind of very freely here. And so we're going to have to unland, reland very, very aggressively here. So we don't want to push into this 88 stack, so instead we'll just do a naval landing on the area and hope we get in. And so we've moved another, you know, we've moved the stack back to South China to just kind of sit there, because they are going to have to land, you know, us or the capital in order to get in. It looks like they have freed up the Philippines, so we're going to instead land at a different spot here. And this is the capital of the Philippines up here in Luzon, and so we just need to, you know, continuously try and land here as best we can. Looks like we were getting a free push up there, but if they don't cover everything in a very effective way, we will eventually be able to enforce them down, but this will be really painful. We're also going to be losing a ton of convoys, but I think we're in decent shape, because good luck landing us here. We have this 49 stack just all on defense. We can even move it over, and maybe we should, to try and catch some of their armies after they've had a little bit of a break from the fighting. So let's move it here and see if they want to pull down and put a bunch of armies here. And if they don't want to push a bunch of armies here, well, it looks like we have full occupation. So now it's going to be actually pushing the other direction. So let's get this guy in. So now we conquered all the Philippines. We did the good old switcheroo. They conquered all of Borneo, and so now we have to push them. And so they are getting a decent chunk of exhaustion, and they don't have a landing coming in, so we'll just be able to bob and weave, I think, through this one. So we managed to eject them off of both Borneo and Philippines with a lot of, let's call it, creative landing. You know, just avoiding their navy, getting in landing squads, and now they are trying to have to re-land. They're not going to be very successful landing into our 50 stack here, or it's unlikely that they'll be successful, and even if they are, we'll just re-land the backline as kind of what we've been doing, and we get our full thing. So now we are recognized. We have been recognized. Philippines have been liberated. We're getting Spanish war reps. We should be getting Philippine war reps as well, and so this will help out, you know, getting some temporary, big money, which is going to be super nice for us, and also our infamy should be getting kind of low now, so now we can look for another big infamy play. But this is super nice for us, you know, the completely freed Philippines, which we will probably be going after later, along with recognition, which recognition brings with it much lower interest rate. So now we can actually deficit spend. You see here, that's not recognized, that's recognized. Not recognized, recognized. Look at your interest rate, now look at me. Now look at your interest rate, now look at me. Classic. So this is going to be very, very good for us. A little bit earlier than we expected, and now we're going to be getting a ton of you know, valuable things like extra, you know, spread on tech. And speaking of tech, we are going to be trying to push up the construction a little bit, and then once the construction actually gets pushed up a little bit, I think maybe around 120 to 150 construction, once we hit like this sort of point, we will be looking to really pump out the universities and get them big. And also we're getting on freedom of conscience. We got 2 really good rolls for plus 20% chance, so we should be getting that pretty quick. We're doing freedom of conscience because we don't actually want the Theravada monks to go away. We want them to be around, and what we will be wanting to do is we will be wanting to get public schools following this, which will be super nice for us, in that we will be able to actually, you know, raise literacy without having to use edicts. We have been like crutching our way through this with edicts, you know, kind of having a little bit of struggle, although I think the SOL kind of coming on up has been helping out with the employment, as these areas seem to be able to, you know, more fully employ now. So rubber mastication is a tech we have been pushing for, and it is going to be a very big deal for us because we are going to be able to go for vulcanization. Now, I don't know why we're going for dynamite first. We're going to go for vulcanization and then we're going to go for vulcanization and then dynamite, but the rubber tools are absolutely insane, and we have rubber. So we're going to put in, you know, some rubber, just get these buildings kind of in the queue already. And just put, you know, a smattering of these, and then also put it on auto expand here, down here in Malay, and the rubber, that way once we get the tech, hopefully we can kind of clear out enough of this so that once we get the tech, we will be able to turn on the rubber tools right away, and this will be really nice. I also think that now that we're recognized, you know, we should do as the Europeans do, which is of course exploit Africa. So we have not been putting interests in anywhere except where is adjacent. We have not had a globalist view this entire run, but now I think, now with our recognition, if we can do this to Spain, you know, humiliate them and force us to recognize us, what else can we do? And that's probably just go for Zanj here, which I think this is part of Victoria Tweaks mod, where they just start off with this piece of Kenya. We're just going to go for this piece of Kenya and look to colonize in this way, as well as maybe go for Congo, something like this, and also, of course, South Africa. I can't resist myself. And so this is going to be kind of where we are emerging on a global stage, going for this stuff. You know, it's free real estate. I think we are not going to go for any unrecognized powers, so, like, even though it'd be good to go for New Granada, I don't think we're going to, like, take New Granada, like, this type of thing. Or, sorry, we're not going to go for any recognized states, but I think anyone who's unrecognized, and also Transvaal and Orania, we will consider for ourselves a bit more of a sort of free game thing, now that we are a recognized power, now that we are, you know, emerging. Also, we've had colonialization for forever, but we haven't colonized anything because we haven't declared any interests outside this region. So this is what we're doing. We're also reducing autonomy here at this very moment. You know, we're having a little bit of trouble here passing that law, but we're reducing Vietnamese autonomy, looking to make them into a dominion now, and we will probably be going after Burma, something like this, after, you know, going after just this little snippet of Zanzibar here. Well, they give in without a fight. They just said, it's not worth the headache, you can have it, and now we will establish our first colony. 547 days, that's a decent clip, but we probably will, after vulcanization, actually maybe even before vulcanization here. Well, we're not spreading pharmaceuticals, but we are going to want to get into, oh, we're not spreading pharmaceuticals, we just researched it for a hot second. So now we have a little bit of a choice. We could either go vulcanization into dynamite, or we can look to secure ourselves a bit more of Africa. I think we'll just go vulcanization into dynamite. You know, I think we'll benefit a lot from, you know, the reduced construction costs, because, you know, keeping in mind, dynamite gets rid of these, you know, state construction efficiency malices, which we have kind of all over the place for ourselves here, but we are going to be able to get an immediate ingress here into Kenya. I mean, we're not sighting in on this, but this is a very kind of interesting looking play where the UK is going to be fighting quite a few people. The UK is going to be fighting Prussia, Russia, and the Netherlands. The initial play was for the Dutch East, some of the Dutch East Indies stuff. We don't really like this, but there's not much we can do about it. But I'm really surprised at how fearful they are due to level of mobilization. I guess maybe Russia and Prussia are not too committed. As far as, like, the balance of power goes, there's, you know, quite a few Well, I guess there's kind of a lot more for the UK. Man, the UK is so kicked up, and we know that the AI is going to play a lot different in this mod, and so maybe this is, you know, part of it, which is just going to, down the line, make this idea of us kind of getting rid of these treaty ports from the UK quite a bit harder. You know, if we look at kind of the overall goal was to get the entire Indochina strategic region. And this is going to be a little bit difficult because we do have to take dirt repeatedly from the Raj as well as from the UK. And so this is going to be, you know, very, very uncomfortable. And we did also, in this kind of like in-between period, you know, go to war with Yunnan or ask them to kindly surrender, and they kindly said yes. And so they're our subject now. And now we're going after Congo, which will give us a native interest in the region. And you can see here the Siamese market is becoming quite large. We've got a little bit of it over here, and soon a little bit of it will be over here. Alright, so finally we get schools in. Looks like the Balochistan Uprising. Go you. Fighting the UK. Fighting the monster. And now we can go in on reforming the tax, which has been something we've wanted to do for a long time, but there's a ton of law passes. We're expecting to see, you know, plus 49k on the revenue. I know it might be blacked out, but this will also make, in particular, a few interest groups happy with us that we're not currently happy, which is going to, you know, overall have a positive effect for us, because we will be getting, you know, quite a lot of what is it? These guys being happy means more bureaucracy, less loan interest rate, which is fantastic. So this will, you know, positively affect the money. And also we can just immediately slot in education. So we are going to be getting 45% education access. We're expecting to see this absolutely fly up now. And so looking in very, very good shape here. We currently don't have too much infamy. So maybe, no, we still have a decent chunk. So we don't want to make any moves just quite yet. We will want to reduce autonomy just as soon as our truce is up here in 36 months as well, because these territories are going to be super nice. Specifically, Yunnan is going to be super nice to build in with both the iron mines and the coal mines, so we want to get incorporating as quickly as possible. It's unfortunate, but it is 20-year incorporation on, you know, any sort of thing we take off of China, which is going to be a little bit rough, and so we won't really be able to make use of it immediately, but in the long term, those Yunnan territories are going to be very valuable to us. So this tech is going to be super nice for us, allowing us to, well, this tech's going to be nice too, which switches guys onto being capitalist ownership, but that's not the really key one. The really key one is going to be this machine steel tools, which importantly is going to very much decrease our demand for, you know, we also have to wait for that to employ up, but this is going to dramatically decrease our demand for wood, and so we are going to have to make sure that we are exporting softwood, we are going to have to make sure we are exporting softwood pretty aggressively here. We have an export prioritization on this, and this is, you know, kind of the backbone of our economy at this juncture. You know, we have like 10 iron mines, we have like 6 gold mines. Let's see Paul Allen's wood shops. Yeah, we have 60, well, we have 68 right now, but we're about to have 69 logging camps. Also been doing much the same thing, you know, with the fishing wharves, looking to auto-expand because we're trying to de-peasant and get as many people to not be peasants as possible, and we're doing a pretty good job. There's 2.6k gainfully employed, 3.6 million peasants, and a whole big chunk of these peasants are going to be, you know, in Guangdong, which is not really the best place for us to be able to build. If we kind of come in here and we sort by peasants, we will see that majority of the peasants are in Guangdong, and the majority of the unemployed are also in Guangdong. Although we are going to look to actually push pretty actively to get rid of some of these unemployed, especially now that our limiting factor before was the fact that no one had an education. Now this is much less of a limiting factor, so we're going to look to push specifically in any area that, you know, has a lot of logging potential. We're going to look to push it, as well as with the rubber, we're going to look to push it. We're actually going to push it to the top of the queue. I thought these were already finished. I guess they're not. So I think we obviously can't switch over just yet, but we will be switching over soon. And so this will be really good for us, and we will continue to try and, you know, industrialize here now that we are emerging on the world stage. So we are actually really struggling to get into Gaza with this war. It is pretty bad. We can't land. They're on line infantry. There's a lot more of them than there is normally, and we're not used to this. And so what we're doing is we're trying to land with kind of our big stack, and we can't get in because we're suffering this penalty. So what we're doing is we're building level 1 naval yards in a bunch of different places, because as soon as they get one single guy recruited, it will increase the level of this fleet by 1. It won't give it the combat power of a full, a fully organized fleet, but by doing this, we will enable ourselves to get in on the landing much, much better. And I think that our 30 stack can land into this. And if not, we're going to keep recruiting up. We might even raise conscripts. We're not going to just let this go, because this is a decent chunk of infamy. Nice. We get the last monarchist. We got to put the past behind us. And so you can see here, it's already gone from 22 to 24. This will continue, and this will hopefully allow us to, actually get in on this. They do have war reps on us, though, so we can drag this war out as long as we want, and we have a decent amount of infamy to decay, so we have plenty of time before, we would be losing our infamy, or we would be losing our infamy decay, rather, because when you're at 0 infamy, if you're not using your infamy decay, you're losing it. So we're starting to finally get in there, and also we've decided to kind of maintain a philosophy of we're going to go after for Africa a little bit, but as far as, our gaining more diplomatic interest or area interest, we're going to look to expand them as organically as possible, rather than, putting a whole bunch in areas maybe we don't have a right putting them. We are going to kind of expand from our base here in Southeast Asia, and so this is kind of the expansion we got. Actually, let's do this. This looks a little bit better. We're probably not going to do anything with the Manchuria interests or the Japan interest, at least in the near future, but we're just going to radiate out from our kind of base of affairs in Southeast China, or in Southeast Asia rather, and also and also look to kind of start our colonization efforts, because we saw what Spain was trying to do to us, and so we decided we had to do it to someone else. And these battles are starting to go our way as well. We have 50% here, and so we will be enforcing on them in a reasonably good time. We do unlock dynamite, which is a little bit different in that it's going to give us better construction areas, in addition to this resource discovery chance, which is going to pair nicely with us kind of being more in on rubber. We're probably going to go steam donkey into pump jacks relatively soon here, but for now we are going to try and get our colonization on by going in from pharmaceuticals into quinine, and then maybe we can actually demarginalize the urban, or sorry, I forget what they're called, oh my god, the trade unionists, by going or we already have labor movement, I'm blind. But getting joint stock companies as a natural spread will be pretty nice, and we are going to start catching up on the tech here. We've gone up to 150 construction, and we are making money, but we're just going to kind of let this clear out some of our debt. We are not a GP just yet, and so once we're a GP, then we're going to deficit spend really aggressively, but for now we're just going to look to be a little bit more relaxed, because we want to have a little bit more buffer, because the AI is a little bit different in Victoria Tweaks mod, and we want to be able to adjust to what's going on, but coming on up, we do have 16 levels of university, which is going to cost a pretty penny, but is also going to help us to catch up on tech quite a lot. And so moving forward, we're going to be looking to maybe do stuff ahead of time. Now, society tech going ahead of time is going to be a little bit painful. There's a lot of techs we don't have researched yet, and so we'll probably after this be thinking about going pump jacks, and then coming back and doing some ahead of time business in the society sphere, maybe going for steel frame buildings, and maybe even civilizing mission. We also have to keep an eye on the text, because it is a bit interesting when there's just some random stuff on it that we were not aware that was on it. Like in the case of dynamite, removing the negative effects of difficult terrain in this mod, but we're coming along quite nicely. The infamy is it's a decent number, because we reduced autonomy in Yunnan. We're also reducing autonomy here, and so we're expecting to have a nice little war as we kind of look to integrate the rest of our holdings down here. We will have to go after Burma sometime in the near future, though. We're not currently in on Burma, and so we would like to do this. in the near future. I think we just passed, or once we passed, the child labor, we will be, upping this a little bit, and we are in really solid shape as far as you can see here. We're just cranking up in terms of the literacy, which is going to give us a much bigger cap for our direct research, but also it's going to give us a more indirect research, which is really valuable before you have the unis, but we're about to have the unis, so this is a bit of a thing. So we're going to war with these guys. We should be able to finish that up pretty quick, though. So we have just absolutely gotten wrecked on, the last, 9 or 10 ticks of enacting child labor, moving from, 40% success chance with no setbacks to all setbacks. And so this is a little bit unfortunate, but we're just going to go after Burma here. This shouldn't take too long. We did go to a pretty high infamy level to do this, but we don't have a customs union at this juncture, and I'm not sure how I feel about, creating a customs union. I suppose we would want to get one with the UK, who no longer has the modifier that prevents people from joining, so something like this would be fantastic for us. We must save communist Australian people from themselves, or this. I guess we'll kind of take that, but we are going after Burma right now, which kind of solidifies our control over this region. We have a little bit of everyone. We also are just about at, the construction level we want to get to, which is 200, which is a pretty nice break point, where we kind of change things up, and we're running low-ish taxes right now, so we're not really running a deficit, but we're doing this so we can be in the legitimate government bracket. The second we actually need money, we can just increase the taxes, and it's not too big a deal. Really having a nice bit of a come up right now. We are discovering so much rubber. There's so much rubber all around, kind of the territories we have, and rubber's a really, really strong resource, following this patch. And so, this is going to be pretty nice for us being able to, expand out the rubber in Borneo. I think we're going to even try and export it if it's cheap. It's not yet cheap, so we'll see. No one's willing to take it, but as it continues to come down, we will actually turn it on we are currently not using it in the textile mills. Actually, let's just turn it on in there now. Those places will be more profitable. We will be producing a ton of, luxury clothes, and now we can profitably, export some of these luxury clothes, so we'll take a crack at that, which is going to feel pretty nice here. And so we're looking to kind of make a move towards specializing in specifically tools and clothes, I think, because we have way more rubber than the rest of the world does, and so we can make better use of these PMs. And in particular, the clothing industry, sets up an interesting kind of idea in that we can really improve our own SOL. You see here we have really expensive regular clothes, but if we are exporting and building a ton of these luxury clothes, we can use this to drive down the price of regular clothes, as long as we're able to export a lot, because this will allow us to build a proportionally larger amount of textile mills. And this is one of the best areas to build this sort of stuff, because we do have a combination of cotton, silk, and dyes in some of these provinces. Not all of these provinces. I don't think there's a single province that has silks, dyes, cotton, and rubber. I think there's not a single one in the entire game. Like, the cutoff of where you have dyes is like the exact same as where rubber appears, if I recall correctly, unless they have changed something, or something has changed in Victoria Tweaks mod. We also did subjugate Transvaal. They backed down. We decided it was a little bit of a compromise. We're not going to go for the gold right away, but instead subjugate these guys, which will give us a little bit more of a slow kind of off-put into getting this sort of thing, but we will give them a little bit more respect as a country that is recognized, not an unrecognized country. So we're going to be giving them more respect. We're getting ready to maybe get in here on the Congo, and the research is starting to come faster, and the reason for that is we are starting to finish up some of these unis here in Bangkok here. Where if we come on down, oh wait, we're not finishing up the unis. We built the unis in other places. We built a couple level 1 unis in some places that were having qualifications problems. That's what the unis were in the queue. So, but this is going to be coming up pretty quick here. It did give us a little bit of extra progress, but not the type of progress we're looking for, and we will, of course, come up to the next level on education, getting 60% education access. If I'm not mistaken, this is higher than vanilla. I can't recall. I feel like it's 10 10% in vanilla, and here it's 15%. That's quite a lot. I'm not sure how I feel about this balance. I also, in this mod, the petite bourgeoisie gets way stronger than they normally do, which actually makes it pretty hard to make legitimate governments. I'm not sure how I feel about this either. I think it's probably a good thing, but I don't know. We're going to be, keeping on. And also, in this mod particularly, this is the Victoria Tweaks mod, we do have the situation where urban centers in general are going to be a lot different in terms of how they go. Why don't we go free churches? So the thing is we actually like our bonus on our Theravada monks, and they're actually pretty happy, so we should maybe try and do something to make them even happier. If we just keep the taxes low, we can kind of do this, but we really want to crank up construction rather than doing this, because we kind of have peasants and unemployed, but on the other hand, we kind of, in some sense, don't, because a lot of them are in Guangdong, where we don't actually want to do a lot of construction. Actually, it's almost done incorporating. So the effects of turmoils are greatly mitigated by the fact that we have level 5 police institutions, so maybe we'll start, looking to build more there where we have a ton of unemployed and peasants. So we are going to come in here and enact a racial segregation, and the main idea is not that we really necessarily need this. I think we do want to go multiculturalism eventually. Racial segregation, in terms of heritage cultural trait, when we look at our primary pops, our primary culture, it's going to be Thai, I believe, is our primary culture, which is going to be Southeast Asian, which is not really, there's not too many of these pops overall, and we are going to have a ton of pops that are going to be, Yue and Chinese and this type of stuff, or Yue and Han. I don't think we accept the Yue pops. They're discriminated against Han and East Asian, not Southeast Asian, and so this is going to be a bit unfortunate for us. And since there's such a high proportion of our, pops, we eventually do want to go multiculturalism. However, we're just doing this right now because, look, this guy from the Theravada monks, he supports it, and this is going to be super nice because with this guy getting happy, we are going to get minus 50% radicals from standard living decreases, and so we're going to engage in this. Now, it could have been reasonable for us to go universal suffrage. We have a movement for it, and basically no one opposes it, but getting on to racial segregation, just kind of a little quickie to, boost these guys up to the point where we can probably try and start getting better bonuses, and look to decrease radicalism overall, will be quite nice. I think we'll probably look to increase taxes and add construction, but that will be kind of a subject for next episode. This episode, just now, we kind of took Burma. This episode, we got a whole lot done. The very big one was getting recognition from Spain and kind of emerging on this global scale where we are starting to turn our eye towards Africa. We are ingressing here, we are ingressing here, and we are ingressing here, looking to play a little bit of catch up and get a good chunk of Africa for ourselves, but we have also secured, for the most part, Southeast Asia, with the exception, of course, the Raj and the UK-owned territories. We have most of it. Burma is going to be a subject of ours. We cannot do anything, or we can't reduce their autonomy just yet. And we are also looking forward to eventually annexing Yunnan and Dainam. This will be a pretty good pickup for us in terms of the territory. And as far as our economy is going, we are starting to really develop we're really specialized in wood. We're starting to add on the rubber, and then we will kind of go rubber and tools and textile mills. We are the only ones who have a ton of access to rubber right now, other than these like South American countries, I suppose. And we are looking to get a good chunk of Africa, and so we can use these really, really, really strong PMs, especially right now. The tools PM's insane. We will try and make sure we're exporting tools, rubber, and wood, because this is, the large share of our economy. In fact, we can export some of this stuff right now. Just kind of taking a look at how this works or looks. This will buoy up the price, which will allow us to further specialize, and also, the trade centers will make money themselves. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do the YouTube algorithm thing, and other than that, have a good one.